Welcome to Piece by Piece, a business podcast by Lumbermen. In this episode, we discuss company growth. Here's Ryan Terpstra, Shawn Montague, and Tank Johnson. Welcome to the Piece by Piece podcast. It's a business podcast by Lumbermen. I'm Ryan Terpstra, joined on this episode once again by Shawn Montague and David Tank Johnson. We are in Tank's office. If you remember from our previous podcast, we had a conversation. It was so good. We're going to do it again, sitting down with Tank and Shawn. And I think you guys are the absolute best to talk about the subject we want to hit on today, which is growing the company, gaining conversions, and just growing your business. Everybody is looking to grow, hopefully. And this is something that, I've only been here 3-ish years. You're about 4 years. Shawn's about 8 years. You think about what Shawn has seen when he started versus what has happened when you and I got here. It's a wide breadth of things. So, Tank, what has your experience been like in the time that you've been in Lumbermen when we've seen growth in our own markets? Let's start kind of in our existing footprint, but we're always grinding and trying get better market share and increase conversions. What kind of things have you seen from that element here at home, so to speak?
Yeah, if you're not growing, in my opinion, you're dying. You have to grow, but you have to have intentional growth. Growth with a purpose, not just uncontrolled growth, but you have to be really focused on where are you putting your efforts, how are you going to grow. So specifically indoors, we wanted to grow with value adds. So we wanted to grow pre-finished door business. We wanted to grow more custom glass, more cladding. And the way you do that, you have to canvas the market, but you also have to have something to talk about. You can't just show up with a box of donuts and slide them on the counter and be like, you see the ball game? There's no value there. What are you there to talk about? How can you better this dealer, this salesperson, to arm them with something to go talk to their builders about and the homeowners about? So, being that smart friend, being that person who can go out and drive awareness is really important. And then sustainability. You cannot grow into a market or grow into a space that you can't sustain. You can't go out and create ripples that you can't maintain. So I do think it's a little bit of a balanced approach, but having direction.
What have you seen during your time, Shawn? You're kind of the elder statesman amongst the two of us.
Maybe at this table, but I just want to say for the record, it looks like Tank has gotten bigger since the last time we filmed. I don't know if he's been working out or not.
Push-ups in between episodes?
Yes.
Medium shirts, baby.
Yeah, but I will say that we are really focused on helping our customers be successful with the products that we sell them. Our team has heard me say this 100 times, where if we get a customer to stock a new product with us or try something for us, and I could name 10 products off the top of my head that we're trying to do that with right now. That's where the hard work begins. The hard work is not getting them to say yes. The hard work is when they say yes, what are we doing for the next 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, 3 years, 4 years, because we have to help them be successful. That's our job.
I think it's interesting trying to grow within a market where you're established. We're going to talk later on in this episode about getting out of our comfort zone, so to speak. We've opened building materials in Minnesota. We're going to talk about going to Minnesota. But when we're talking about trying to grow a product in Michigan, which is kind of our heritage state, Ohio, where we have some good coverage, but we're trying to move it out, Indiana, we've been servicing that state for a while. What are some kind of internal strategies for either customers that know us or they've known of us for a while? How do you approach growth in that aspect?
I think it starts with a listening campaign. I don't think you can just expect to show up with a good-looking face and think someone's going to give you the business. You have to go in and listen. You have to ask pointed questions where someone is, you're asking questions around their business to know how it ticks. Why do they do what they do? What's the service platform? And then try to think about how you are as a company or how you interact, and how does that fit into their business cycle. Once you have enough information, you're armed with that to be dangerous, then I think you can earn some consideration for asking for that business. But it's not like, you're not getting that business on your first approach. You have to be consistent and persistent. You can't just expect to go in there. And I think about some of the new salespeople that we've hired or some of the new leaders. Sometimes that's our expectation, right? Because in Michigan, our branding is really strong. People know us. They know our pretty trucks going down the road. But you get, far away from the mother's nest, our branding may not carry as much. You may have to do a little more explaining. So you have to carry the water to make sure that lands properly.
Yeah, and that takes time. And I will also add that, one of the things that we've been really focused on in 2025 is minimizing the distractions and also reviewing and reflecting on our service platform. And I'll give you a very specific example. We've recently made the decision where there's a particular market that we're going to move to a 5-day per week delivery model. That's an answer to your question, right? Like, what are we going to do differently to grow? Yes, we have great salespeople, and yes, we can maybe convince someone to take a chance on a product and help them be successful with it. But what's our inventory position look like behind the scenes? Those are things people don't see or talk about. What's our service platform look like behind the scenes, and something else people don't see or talk about. But we're constantly reviewing those things, and we're in the middle of doing that as we speak.
Yeah. I mean, even think about that, Shawn. Sometimes we think this product has value, but oftentimes who determines the value?
Customer.
Bingo.
Right.
So we may think this piece of bread is the best toasted bread in the game, but if the customers, they don't like toast, we have to bring that to them, So I love that, making sure the strategy matches the customer's needs.
So we have an established brand, as we've talked about, but when you try and pick that up and move it, and we've talked a little bit more about like outside the mother's nest, I think that was a good analogy. We're doing that. We went into Minnesota last year. We have made the announcement that Door is coming to Minnesota. We outgrew our facility in less than a year's time. What are the strategies to take an established brand, though, and move it over? I'll start with building materials because y'all did it first, and Tank is riding your coattails on in. Yeah. How do you prepare to take something and attack an entirely new market? I know we had some support, but what were some strategies behind that?
It takes a big team of great people to be able to do something like that. We were fortunate to find a few native local people to Minnesota that really helped us get off on the right foot when it was necessary. I'll also add that games are won with base hits. It's really important that we understand that every relationship starts with a transaction. You have to start somewhere. And I think I've said in previous episodes, customers want to be treated like the ones that we want them to be, maybe not the ones that they are. And so if a customer isn't buying something from us right now, how can we blame them in that new market? We're brand new, so we have to be able to go and continue to spend time with them and be comfortable with not seeing the results right away. And we have a great team out there that's getting that done for us.
So we see building materials moving over there. You've got elements of production, manufacturing, delivery, all these logistics. What's your first approach? What are the first things that need to be done when you're trying to enter a new market?
I will say maybe the first thing I did was call Shawn and just spend some time talking around, hey man, what's your first month look like? Your first 2 months look like? And then, it's almost like a mental gymnastics, right? Because I'm hearing him like, oh man, at first it's exciting. You're going here, and then all this work starts to happen.
Yeah, if you're doing a good job, you're creating work for yourself, and you know that that's coming.
Yes. So then the tangibles come. Very, very, very fortunate. We were able to attract a savant, a person who knows Therma-Tru products in and out. is a native of that area. Very, very, very strong candidate, and he has been awesome for us. So he has helped kind of educate us on how there are similarities in that market, but also how there's some differences there. But then for us, it's equipment. We are a manufacturer of products, so we need specific equipment, we need specific drops, we need specific flow of the build of the door. And that was a little bit of the exciting part, because we got to shape this brand new facility and how material would flow through it and arrive as a finished good. But it's a lot of work. I will say I did not appreciate some of those early calls as much as I should have. Like, oh, this is work, but it's a lot of work. It's good work.
Yeah.
It's good work, but it's a lot.
You guys are doing great.
No, I appreciate that.
I guess, what are some early tips? You don't have to give away all the secret sauce in those late night phone calls, but like, what are things that need to happen for a company to be ready to consider maybe the launch, or have to have ready to try and execute something?
I was at a industry event recently and was approached by someone in the space who was looking to grow. And they pulled me aside one late night and they were like, hey, give me the dirty details. Tell me the thing that no one's telling me. And this was not you. This was, it was someone in our industry. And I said, you are going to have to be more involved than you think you need to be. And I really, really believe that the leadership that are making these decisions cannot make the decisions from an office and decide that someone else is going to deliver the mail. We have to be way more involved. And those were some of the early conversations that I shared with Tank is, he's going to be more involved than maybe he thought he would be, which means back home, things got to be locked up and ready to go, and you got to prepare your team for that. But when I say involvement, I mean, you're customer facing, and you're probably in interviews with people who maybe you normally wouldn't sit in on an interview with. And you're dealing with things that maybe you normally don't deal with in terms of facility maintenance and things like that. So being way more involved and being open and willing to accept that challenge.
All right, so we've talked about all the elements of like getting to a new market. Now we have to go on blind date. We got to find somebody that's willing to sit down with us. What does that look like? What does that look like being across the table from a brand new customer? Like, you are like seriously cold calling them. What was that experience like?
Humbling, exciting. That's why I'm in this game. That's why you're in this game. And I love the customer experience. I love getting to know people. Dating back to the last episode, I love figuring out, more about them, making it about them, and that's genuine. And then trying to identify, where do we fit in to this? And if we don't fit in, we are okay with that. But I believe that more times than not, we do fit in. And so we have to be able to articulate to them how and what. And I can vividly remember 20 cold calls that I've had in the last, 9 months, where I'm introducing myself to someone brand new. And I'm telling the Lumbermen story. And I get, 5 minutes to do that. And then I get 5 minutes to tell them about myself. And 5 minutes to tell them about, their new sales rep. And then maybe 5 minutes to ask questions. And I better have the questions that I want to ask lined up. And they better be good ones. And that's real.
That's it. I mean, that the excitement of that. Because the story that you just laid out, or that process, it's hard to do that where you're well known.
Right.
But when you're in that new space and you are introducing yourself and you're talking about the history of the company and who we are, it is refreshing, because oftentimes you'll have that conversation, you'll say something, and you see that customer's eyes twinkle or light up, like, really? And then there's no better thing than asking a customer, tell me about yourself.
Yeah.
Because when's the last time their sales rep came in and asked that question, or really wanted to know, maybe at a deeper level, who they are, what they're about, what's important to them.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit of a gift to be able to go reinvent ourselves in that market that way.
We have approached the customer. We've had an opportunity to make a sale. Like you said, it base hits, baby. Like, let's get our foot in the door. What does that look like now? We've established a relationship. Like, what kind of things are needed to maintain, grow? What does it look like once we've gotten somebody to give us a try?
I think I had mentioned you're more involved than you typically are, and that stays true all the way until the delivery of that particular transaction, and then even beyond that. Because when you're dealing with a new market and a new staff, a new team, you're going to get things wrong. You're going to pull the wrong color. You're going to pull grooved instead of square edge. You might build a door incorrectly with a new and so I really believe that it's so important that we respond urgently, we respond sincerely to the issues and things that we get wrong. And so we've spent time talking about that in our new market. It's really important to us. Our customers in our existing market are used to that. That's just the culture. And so making sure that translates was something really, really important to us.
Yeah, and I don't have as much experience in that market. We've delivered a handful of products there, but making sure the SOP is outlined, because the thing that we somewhat take for granted is everyone in this facility, they know our process. They know how we care for customers, how we react for customers. In that market, not as much. So making sure that the urgency is there, making sure that we have contingencies. We only get to be new one time. And I say that often to our group. Like, our first order shipped March 10th. And I was just preaching, like, guys, we only get to make our first delivery one time. One time. There will never be another first delivery in this market. So make sure the bands are right. Make sure the door's protected. Make sure the customer knows how important this is. Because we only get to do that one time. And it's really exciting. And I got a bunch of pictures sent to me, like, here's the truck, here's the curtains. Yeah. But it's making sure that people understand that PO is a gift.
Yes.
That customer could have given that to anyone, but they made the decision to give it to us. So we need to care for that. And if something goes wrong, we need to be all over it. Whoever needs to call, whoever needs to make the visit, we just got to make it right. And it's going to happen. Mm-hmm. We're going to make mistakes. I mean, we're human.
Great conversation, guys, and I appreciate, Tank, you kind of joining us, so to speak. We will drag you back here at some point. And, good luck to both of you in Minnesota. I mean, it's a lot of work, like you said, but it's definitely a great team backing everybody out there. I will say, from the team side thing, great leadership as well, and great conversation today, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening. Join us next time for a discussion about the cultural and financial benefits of safety at the workplace. This has been Piece by Piece, a business podcast by Lumbermens.